Hello, everybody. Hi, good evening. It's Fiona Hooper here with another edition of the Poetry of Painting. And this week we have a wonderful guest returning for you who's going to do something a little bit different this week from her normal style. So welcome to everybody who's watching, or if you're watching live or if you're on replay. Lovely to have you along. Thanks ever so much. As normal, please leave comments and questions, and we'll do our best to address all of them in due course. So I will now introduce this week's guest, is Roz Ottery, who's coming back for another poetry session. So Roz, hi, welcome back. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Fiona. Lovely to be back. Really looking forward to tonight. It's a bit of an experiment.
Well, it's great to have you back, and I'm looking forward to it as well because, as you say, it's something a little bit different. So
Yeah,
why not? Just
indeed.
do things differently. So this week, oh, Chris says hello, Fiona. Lovely to be with you both. Thank you, Chris. Lovely to have you along. Thank you. This week, as you can see, I've got two paintings on the wall behind me, but in fact, Roz's poem is about neither of those paintings because the one that she chose actually now lives in Malta with its new owner. So it was a bit tricky to get that one back. So let me put it on the screen so you can at least see the painting that Roz has written about for this week's show. So the painting is quite a small one. It's 30 by 30 centimeters, which is about 12 inches, and it's oils on canvas. And I called it the seventh wave. It's that big seventh one that comes in that we all learnt about as children. Whether it's quite true or not, sometimes it seems to be when I've sat watching waves, but I'm not sure it's always true. But anyway, I'm sure Roz is going to tell us more about that when she delivers her poem to us. So, Roz, would you like to go ahead?
I will. Let me tell you first that this is not a descriptive poem. When I saw this poem, this painting, as usual with me, I'm usually hit by some kind of emotive force, which is how I usually connect with anything visual that I see. And what struck me about this painting was the timelessness of the waves and the fact that the wind had obviously stirred up the water, and I was struck by the fact and the imaginative visual of the top of the water being whipped up by storms or wind or whatever, and the depths being quiet and calm and deep. And it's, there's not a normal painting that you would see. Lots of people paint waves that are always quite blue and glossy and nice. And this has more character than that. And then, as is always with me, it struck me that the timelessness of the waves, and the seventh wave in particular, is a little bit like our life. The waves roll in and they bring with them all sorts of different experiences. And I've, of course, like many people, have been struck by the enormity of the war in Ukraine. And what happened was that they melded. So this is a poem set to music. So it's a song, in fact, although in all honesty, I wouldn't say that I'm a songwriter. But this is, if you can hear in the tune, the music that I've chosen, that it feels like a wave as it rolls in. Well, I hope you do anyway. And so this is about this painting, what it inspired in me. And it was absolutely as deep as I could possibly feel. So, not saying it's a great poem.
I'm sure it will be.
Here we go. Time slips away, day after day, moment by moment, come blue or come grey. Each seventh wave, we're asked to be brave As man goes to war, no life's valued or saved. So sing with all humanity, with dignity, with life. The wind stirs storms and pounds the shore, but its depth is still contrast and shore. Through spray and through foam, over seas we may roam. The oceans divide us, yet earth is our home. All the taking of sides hasn't once changed these tides. Another era rolls in, never mind the tears cried. A picture paints 1,000 tales, in memory trails for mine. But music ends and chords are lost. Don't count the cost by being blind. That's
Wow. Brilliant. That's so lovely. Thank you, Roz. Just, yeah, very powerful. Very powerful. And
I hope it wasn't too laggy. It's difficult with songs on media because it
no,
does tend to falter a little bit.
it
Yeah,
worked really well, and the sound was brilliant. Sammy says, "Wow, absolutely, Sammy. I agree with you on that one wholeheartedly. Very powerful." And you say it wasn't a descriptive poem, but it was. I mean, it wasn't a description of the physical painting, but it was a description of what's encapsulated in that painting, the power of the sea and the waves, and how timeless it is, and how it'll be there once we're all gone, you know. Sammy said it was very moving, which it was.
I was moved by the painting. It just did remind me. It's got such a lot of character, that painting, and it absolutely again, as happens a lot with your paintings, it inspires me. So that's it's really nice to write. I don't, as I said, I'm not really a songwriter. I'm not great with tunes. I don't play an instrument, so the tune has to come from something which is inspired by whatever I'm looking at. And I just thought that
Mm.
it felt like a wave as it rolled in.
Well, look at this comment, Roz. Have a look at that.
Ah, oh,
Absolutely.
lovely.
Very well said, Chris. Thank you.
Oh,
Definitely. So you've got the thumbs up all round, Roz.
yeah. Well, that's very
Absolutely
touching.
brilliant.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you for writing such beautiful words about one of my paintings again. You know, you've done it well, this is your eighth show now, I
Oh,
believe.
is it really?
Yes, yes. And I just love when I was painting this, you do see, as you say, paintings of waves that are blue and shiny and sparkly and clean. And normally when I go to the beach, they do look a bit discolored because they've picked up the sand, so
That's
it
right.
colors the water.
Yeah.
And I just love where you get that light shining through on the top of the curl of the wave, and just the power of it, the physicality of the body of water. And it can be a beautiful thing, but it can also be very powerful and very dangerous at the same time. So
But again,
oh,
it's actually like life. It's powerful. It can knock you over. But it's also something that is just so incredible. The smell of the brine, the smell of the sea when you're next to it. But people used to go, didn't they, to take health by the sea,
mm,
to give themselves health because it's supposed to be very good for you.
it is.
So it's all you go from one end right to the other with the sea. It just gives you everything, doesn't it?
It does. Yes, Sammy said it had the tune of Sunrise Sunset from Fiddler on the Roof about it.
Yes, it does actually.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, that's got a flow as well.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But it is true that the air at the sea and the particular mix of gases in the air at the sea is actually really good for us. It's invigorating and energizing, so, going for a walk on the beach, okay, you might get, frozen and blown to smithereens in the depths of winter, but the actual air that you're breathing there is really good for us. So that's probably why it's a favorite place for so many of us, to go down to the sea and sit and watch the waves, dig your toes into the sand, find seashells.
I was brought up by the south coast, in between Southampton and Portsmouth, and
Right.
so our local beach was Leon Solent and all down the Solent down there, and of course that's all shale. It's mostly little stones, but we used to spend hours and hours picking up the most beautiful ones and throwing them into the water and things. And I put that down now to the fact that I don't particularly, I mean, I guess this is a matter for debate, but most people think I do not look my age. And I think it's because there's a lot of water, there's moisture in the air by the sea. And of course, we were there until I was in my middle 20s. So.
Well, I can say, knowing how old you are, and I'm not telling anybody, but I definitely don't think you look your age. So could it be living by the sea has done that for you? Who knows?
Maybe.
But I
Certainly
think I might
moisture.
move down to the coast. Oh dear.
Well, I've moved to Yorkshire now. I love it up here, but yeah, the sea was great when I was young. It was certainly part of my
Mm.
life, and the analogies that you can make from sea and life and the oceans are just inspiring, aren't they? They're just endless
And
and wonderful.
and yet there's still so much about them that we really just don't know. So
Yeah,
there are depths there, and they're still discovering new sea life in some of these really deep chasms in the ocean,
that's right.
that even now we haven't come across before. It's such a mysterious place in some of it, and the way that you get all sorts of things like fish that start off as females and become males, and all sorts of weird and wonderful things, beautiful things, sea anemones, absolutely stunning when they're there with their tentacles open, and the colors, starfish, and yeah, I would love to be able to scuba dive, but I have to say I'm not a natural water baby, and although I'd love to do it, I'm not really comfortable going down beneath the surface. I'm happy to swim on the surface, but not. And I've swum with dolphins and sea lions, and that has been just totally amazing. But I think it would be amazing to be able to go down and swim around like some sort of sea animal underneath the waves there, and uh,
I've done a little bit of that. We went a long time ago, but we went to the Maldives, and they do
mm,
like a week's course when you're there, and you do get to go underneath and swim with the rays and on the reef
oh
and see the seals and all the rest. And that was really fascinating. And that's when it occurred to me the times. Well, we went in. It was very rough on top, and I thought, oh my goodness! But when you get underneath, it is serene. You don't notice that there's things going on above at all.
yeah.
It's just
I've, I've been in one of the boats with the glass bottom,
yeah.
well, glass bottom and sides, and that was incredible. It was almost like being in it, but not quite. But yeah, it was. And then you had the people that could scuba dive and snorkel kept coming down and peering in through the windows. But it was good fun. Oh,
Oh,
Chris said it that your song was like sunrise, sunset, and also some of Lerner and Lowe's songs. And knowing
oh.
Chris, that's a big compliment for you from him.
So
Oh,
that's a
and
very auspicious company there.
absolutely. And Sammy says my artwork, as always, is stunning with so much detail and depth. And thank you very much, Sammy. And all the best decisions that she's ever made were while she was watching the waves in Cornwall.
Ah,
What better place to sit and make decisions, to be honest? Because
absolutely.
it grounds you, doesn't it? It
It
grounds you,
really
and
does.
puts you in your place a bit with that vast ocean out there. So,
It
but
does. It does.
brilliant.
There is something that really does seem to echo our own depths, where oceans are concerned, and mountains as well. I've been at the top of mountains in the past. I haven't actually physically climbed them, although we used to top rope a lot. But I've never done the actual mountain climbing. But you know, where you can go and find your way on mountains, various reasons, and they have the same effect on me. It just makes me want to stay there forever and just be with it.
Yes.
Very zen, very zen.
But it is, there's, I think people are lucky that can feel that.
Yeah,
It's like hugging a tree, which I still must confess I haven't done yet, but I must take
yeah.
Marion's advice, one of our Blooms guests at our show this end of this month. She says, just try it. She said it's different. It's amazing, just what happens. You've got to try it to feel it. So I need to do that sometime because I do love trees. People might have noticed from my paintings, I really love trees as well as the sea and nature in general. So I really ought to try hugging a tree. But, there's so much in this world that people miss if they just, they're just going too fast, eyes down, getting from A to B, not taking in their surroundings. Even in a town, there are still beautiful things to see. But, for us, I think the countryside and the ocean, the mountains, and that are definitely more attractive, certainly to myself, than a town. But, we need to stop, slow down, look about, actually take in what we're seeing and what's around us.
Well,
Oh,
we live a life that at the moment, because of the things that we gather, rather than the experiences that we gather,
mm,
the things we gather tend to make us sway towards things being important. And you've got to keep reminding yourself they're actually not. They're not important
yeah,
at all.
no, no, you could
And,
survive
and
without them.
exactly.
Yeah.
And and who knows? There is something for me. I've lived a life, and I know that the most important thing that I believe, and this comes out in whether I'm singing, whether I'm writing poetry, whatever I'm doing, is authenticity. Being
Mm,
authentic to self, and that includes, you can't get anything more authentic than the ocean or a mountain, or it just is. It just is. There
mm,
is nothing else to say about it. It just is.
yes.
And if the more we are like that, the more we try and sort of portray ourselves in a way that isn't like that is really off key. And for me, it's that authenticity grounds me. It takes me back to where perhaps we should be. A culture of celebrity and too much TV, too much sort of gaming and all the just it sort of puts you off a bit. You lose your way a
Mm,
little bit, really.
yeah. And
Careful.
it's like, as well with an artist, yes, we do look at other artists' work. We get inspiration from other people's work. We maybe think, oh, I like that color combination. Maybe I could use that somehow, or that technique, but not to copy someone else's work, because then it's not authentic. It's not our own work, and it won't have that soul in it. That it will have if it's actually our own work, like your poetry. You may
Yeah,
try a different style, but and you may adapt it to be yours, but you're not trying to copy somebody else's work
that's
and write like they do, but just learning and growing and developing, but without trying to be something that you're not. So, oh,
exactly.
Sammy says the best
Exactly.
we are is the authentic self. Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
just going, I have to apologize to any HR professionals here, but we had a comment from Chris saying that if I start hugging trees, I'm on the road to becoming an HR professional. So, not me. Chris said that, not me. So maybe I'll just go and hug a tree quietly in secret somewhere.
When I was younger, when I was little, I was a tree climber. I climbed anything and everything because I was the youngest of 5. And when you keep up with brothers and sisters that are much older than you end up climbing very young. And so as they grew up and left home or whatever, I was sort of left by myself. And very often my way of relaxing would go and climb a tree, and I would hug it and talk to it. And I didn't even know I
Yeah.
was a tree hugger. So hey,
We're in good company because evidently Prince Charles talks to his plants, or used to. So, and
I can see
who says that they don't respond?
exactly. We're very arrogant. We think we know everything, and we really don't.
Yeah,
Um,
there's
I'm
because
sure. I'm sure that there are. We're more and more we're realizing that animals are a lot more sentient than we ever thought they were. Um, so I remember my dad when I was little. I used to say, "Oh, he looks sad," when we were talking about the dog. And my dad, who was a farmer, used to say, "No, don't be silly. The dogs don't feel emotions like you." But actually, that's not entirely true. They do.
they absolutely do. They absolutely do, and you can see it on their faces. When you know that dog, when it's your family dog or whatever, even if it's a working dog, their expressions, and they do feel things.
They do, and I think
Absolutely.
other animals do as well. There's loads of evidence now that even that cows enjoy being silly and romping around, and if they find somebody that they like, they can be just as affectionate as a dog, and all sorts of farm animals. Everything. It's awful because I'm not somebody who particularly enjoys eating vegetables. A childhood thing. I've always been a fussy eater, but I am seriously thinking this. I've got to find a way of becoming plant based because
Yeah.
I'm not happy at all anymore eating meat. I try and dodge it as much as I possibly can. I don't even like eating fish for the same reasons, because I think fish have a lot more sense than people say they do. But
Mm,
it's
yeah,
it's a, it's a, it's a weird life. I think you learn as you get older, really. Perhaps a little bit more
absolutely.
when we're younger, aren't we? Really.
Yeah, yeah, but lots of great stuff coming out tonight as well. And that I think the main message here is that we all need to be authentic and open our eyes and our minds and our hearts to the world that we live in, to get the most out of it for ourselves and for others as well. So, the happier we are, the more we can help to make other people happy as well. And instead of going around with a face as long as a whatever.
I think one of the things about trying to have any kind of um, art based hobby or profession or whatever is the fact that it's channeling that actually creates something that can become more well more important than we are, really, because what it's about, it's about trying to channel something that is real for you. Now that may not be real for everybody, but there will be people it will really resonate with, which is just about the biggest compliment that you can get as any kind of artist.
Absolutely. And hopefully, a lot of the paintings that people may have seen on these shows and the poems and poetry that they've heard will become something a bit bigger than it started out, because the book is progressing.
Great.
The book with the paintings and my guest poems in it. And so it's underway. The contract is signed, and hopefully I shall have some more concrete news very soon for you on that one. But it's very exciting now that it's actually in progress, as opposed to,
It's very
you know,
exciting.
yeah, as it up till now it's been talk of it and it's been preparing what I can here, but now it's actually starting to take shape and move along on its path. So very excited about that. And I just have to do a plug because I'm very excited about something else that's coming up as well, which I'm a member of a small group of artists. We met online and we've become really, really good friends, very supportive of each other and encouraging each other in our art, all different sorts of art. Sammy says, fantastic book news. Thank you, Sammy. It is. I'm excited. And we call ourselves the Blooms. And we've been having some online shows for the last couple of years during lockdown, which have been really successful and great fun. And we're having another one at the end of this month, which is the 29th and 30th of April. And it is online on Zoom, and you get to meet all of 15 different artists at the show, each in their own room, their studio. So you can talk one-on-one with each artist, go around as many or as few as you like. It's not like a gallery, it's not stuffy, it's not formal, it's very, very fun, it's very relaxed. You can have a glass of whatever next to you while you're at the show if you like. We'd encourage it. Not that we're encouraging people to drink to excess, but unfortunately we can't provide it because it gets messy going down the wires. But please feel free to come along with a glass. And the tickets are free. It's, I say, an online event, but you need to get a ticket because you need the sign in to get into the Zoom meeting for it. And we've got obviously oil painter, me, and we've got acrylics, we've got mixed media, watercolor, encaustic wax, fiber art, I've said mixed media, I think, as well, photography, and gum and other things. And I think that's all of the mediums, but covering landscapes, seascapes, animals, both sculpted and painted, women and portraits. And we have a wonderful guest this time as well, Ben, who's a traditionally classically trained artist. So you'll see some amazing portraiture from him. Say photography, nature photography. Then we've got abstracts from Sammy, who does amazing, wonderful abstracts with stories behind them as well. So if you come along to the show and you go to Sammy's room, do ask her about the stories behind the paintings, because it just adds a whole new depth of interest to each one. They're beautiful. The encaustic wax, Julie uses hot beeswax to paint both portraits and abstracts and landscapes and things. So, and ceramics. I did miss one. Ceramics. We've got someone who makes moon jars, which again are wonderful. Come along and have a look to see what they're about and find out more. So, the link, I'll put a link to Sammy's already put a link up. Thanks, Sammy, to get your free tickets at theblooms.co.uk. And we've got 3 shows. Friday night is 7 till 10 p.m. UK time. And then Saturday the 30th, it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. again, all UK times. It'd be great to see you. Do come along, everybody, and meet us, and we can meet you. It's not a hard sell. If you would like to buy something, that's great with us, but it's not a selling exercise. You will not be under any pressure at all to buy anything. We just love to see you come along and have a chat and find out a bit more about us and our work, and we can find out about you too. So Roz, you'd be more than welcome to come along if you'd like to. It'd be lovely to see you there, and you could meet some of my fellow artists as well.
I will. That sounds interesting.
Lovely. So yeah, I had to give that a good plug. I managed to give it a good plug last week because unfortunately we had technical issues, but Margaret, who was supposed to be on, will be coming back and on the show in due course. By hook or by crook, we'll get that done. So there we go. Lots of exciting things coming up in the future.
Great.
So it just leaves me to say thank you so much, Roz, for another fantastic show. Beautiful poetry, song as well, and poetry set to tune. Just really powerful and emotive.
I really enjoyed it, Fiona. I love coming on. It's smashing.
Thank you so much. It's brilliant having you on. And thank you to everybody who's watched, and whether you're on live at the moment. Chris and Sammy in particular, thank you for all of your wonderful comments. Oh, Sammy wants to come to the book signing. Apparently bubbles will be flowing. Well, they jolly well could be, you know. So thanks ever so much, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time. In the meantime, have a fantastic Easter for those of you who celebrate it, and a wonderful weekend to those of you who don't. Thanks again, Roz. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.